Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
What's up, Metal Forge fans? This is Alan Bishop, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest and head distiller at Spirits of French Lick. Do you find yourself drawn to the unexplained, fascinated by the Fortean, or enchanted by the paranormal? If the things that go bump in the night resonate in your mind, then tune into my brand new podcast, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. Featuring first-hand accounts, collected stories, interviews, history, and speculation related to all things not of this world. Available now on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more. Set back, relax, and remember, if you have ghosts, you have everything.
Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I am your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now, let's get this show on the road. What is going on, Metalheads? Thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of the Metal Forge. How are you all doing today? I am doing awesome. I have members from Skelator here at the Metal Forge, and we're going to be talking about their new EP that is a little bit of confusion when it's coming out. I think it was last week, but I think it's today. Something got pushed back. I'm not sure. By the time we recorded this, it was supposed to be out last Friday, but if you go onto the Bandcamp page, it's saying it is available on September 30th, which is today, or the 1st, whenever you're listening to this. Even if it's next November or something, and you're listening back through the archives. Hey, I'm talking to you from the future to the past, whatever. I don't know, from the past to the future, something like that. But yeah, I have a Skeletor here at the Metal Forge, and we're talking about some awesome stuff with those guys. But before we get into that, I want to pick your all's brain on something here. I am about to reissue one of the Overload albums. It's Blood for Blood. It's the second album. It came out February 29th, 2012. Holy crap, that was just over 10 years ago. 10 years this year, but it was back in February, so it's over 10 now. So I had some updated artwork and everything, and on the Bandcamp page, on the digital version, you can get some cool like demo versions and rough mix things like that. But what do you all like with reissues? Because me, like for example, I'm a Kiss fan for the most part. I do think Destroyer is probably their best album. And I don't like the reissued, remastered version that's out there. Because it's got the demos and everything, but it's just like, it just seems like pretty lackluster. They packaged 3 CDs in it and everything, and I'm just like, really? But each other CD's only like 6 or 7 songs. And I'm not cool with that, I guess. I don't know. Because I'm not really big on remasters and stuff anyway, for the most part. Depending on what it is, I guess. But I like to hear the original recording first. I love to have original versions of everything. But in a world like this, where the collector's market, is crazy stuff, you don't really always get that opportunity to have a first edition, whatever, CD, album, vinyl when I say album, cassette even. You don't always get that opportunity, which to me makes it even more special when you can get something that's like a first edition. Like I have my first edition CD print of Fly By Night, which, for all intents and purposes is just a record transfer to it. And yeah, it doesn't sound great, but it's serviceable, and I still love it, and I still listen to it to this day. But yeah, what are your all's thoughts on that? Shoot me a message, comment on Facebook or whatever. Just say, hey Mark, here's what I think about this. You asked about the reissue stuff. What do you think about it? I want to know. So Jason is back today. He is here talking about some interesting things that have happened here at the festival shows. He loves the Danny Wimmer shows. I know that they're his favorite. I know I think he wants to play on some of them actually. No, I'm kidding, Jason. I know how you feel about it. But anyways, yeah, Jason's here. He's going to talk about some interesting events.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wasteland. Hope you have been well since last time I was on here, and I had a last minute change this week. I was going to do an album review, but I will wait till next time to share that with you. And I want to talk about a video that I guess you could say went viral, involving a hard rock metal band called Falling in Reverse. They self-admitted on a video that they pulled out of a festival because their laptops were stolen. They also compared it to driving a car without an engine, which I thought was hysterical because apparently in my career in a band, I have been driving the Flintstones car around for the whole time. I got this off of a Loudwire. It's a tabloid site. And real quick, getting back to what Mark was talking about last week, I agree with him that these tabloid sites are annoying, and I unfollow them all, but somehow they keep finding their way back in my feeds a lot. If I would just have like a publication that just got right to the point without snark or trying to make something out of a line that's taken out of context that sounds pretty controversial or something like that, that would be really nice. But alas, here we are in this day and age where everyone is, super witty and the smartest guy in the room. So, I watched the video before I made up my mind because, like I said, just mentioned about the tabloid sites, you can never really take it at face value. But this one was pretty spot on. I watched the whole thing. He admitted that they use laptops to run their show, whatever that means. He also threw himself in with every other band, it seems, uses laptops to run their shows, as he said, which I, seriously doubt and disagree with. So showmanship and musicianship can go hand in hand, but musicianship should always be priority one. And apparently For a lot of these newer mainstream bands, it is not, because if you're using a computer to run your show instead of using your talent in music to run the show, then you're just a entertainer. You're no better than anyone who's ever won a TV show competition like American Idol or any of those other, music competition shows. Or they call them music. It's just what record labels want to pluck out and try to push. I'm not bashing bands who use tracks for like intro tapes like Metallica does and Iron Maiden does, or if they have one song that had a keyboard player on a studio track, or they used a guest female vocalist on a studio track and they play that through the PA during the song live. That's fine. That really has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. It's the bands that pretty much just obviously can't play their instruments unless they have a computer doing it for them. If this was a legit band, they would have just told their road crew, hey, we're just playing a special stripped down set or something, or raw, live and raw or something. But this just pretty much goes to show that they don't have any talent. I don't care how many records you sell. If you're relying on computers to do everything for you, then you're not a band. If you're a fan of this group and you paid money to see them at this festival, I feel sorry for you, but maybe it's time to look elsewhere and spend your money, spend your time, spend your admiration on someone who deserves it. Because this band took away a prime slot from a band who probably is much better, much more talented, and probably deserved it way more. So that's all I got to say this week. Didn't want to be too negative, but it is annoying when people who apparently don't have any talent tell everyone that no other bands do either, when it's clearly obvious that plenty of bands do. I don't think Metallica, Iron Maiden, AC/DC, Overload, my band, anyone that I'm good friends with would ever cancel a show because their laptop was, missing, or their batteries were dead, or they lost their mouse, or some dumb shit like that. So, anyway, I want to thank Mark for, again, giving me a few minutes of his time on his show. And as always, stay safe, stay heavy, and we will see you next time.
Jason, for the most part, you are absolutely correct. No, I don't think anybody should cancel over something like the laptop being stolen or whatever. You should still be able to perform regardless of if you have tracks or not. Now, if you can't play because it's a click track or something like that, I mean, how did you do it before? Did you always start that way, I guess? And as you did sit there and say, you didn't think Overload used any tracks or anything. Honestly, we do now. We just started this year. We play to a click. We have some backing vocals that are added in, some sound effects. There is anybody who's going out to see us on the triple shot coming up of the Crushing Skulls tour. We're in Blades of Steel Metal Fest in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on 10/7, Akron, Ohio at the Empire Concert Club on 10/8, and the Green Lantern in Lexington, Kentucky on 10/9 with Snafu and a couple more. Check out those. You'll see what we do. It's not over the top. And I mean, honestly, with us, things do change. And I've had packs go out when we're playing live. And yeah, that is kind of hard, but you still do it because you still know what's going on. So that's just the other thing. But anyways, I digress. Who's ready to hear some Skeletor? I know I am. This is coming from the Death to All Nations album. This is Stand Up for Rock and Roll. All right, metalheads, this is a treat because everyone who knows me knows I like Masters of the Universe. Okay, like seriously, like it's almost like an obsession. And I have Rob Steinway and Jason Conde-Houston. Am I saying that right?
Conde-Houston, yes.
Conde-Houston from the band Skeletor here in the Metal Forge. Dudes, what's going fucking on?
Rocking and rolling.
What's up, Mark? How's it going?
Dudes, I'm doing awesome. It started to turn cool here in the Louisville, Kentucky area this past week, like where it's starting to stick around a little bit. We had one day within the last week that was like 100 degrees, and it's been like 70 ever since. So I'm digging that shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're floating around low 80s up here in Seattle, so a little bit warmer than y'all, but it's pretty toasty for folks in the Pacific Northwest. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. I've talked to a lot of bands from up in that area, and they're always saying how it's really kind of a cool climate for the most part. That to see 80 and 90 and 100-degree days is pretty rare.
For real, yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty uncomfortable when it gets that hot up here. So.
Oh, I'm sure it is, because I mean it's pretty uncomfortable when it's anywhere that it's 100 fucking degrees, I would think. Unless you're used to it like in Arizona or some shit. Arizona, that's crazy. A cool day.
Yeah, those crazy Vegas people where you go inside and they have like fireplaces going when it's like 80 degrees outside and they're all cold and everything.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine that. So, seriously, like, how is, like, Skeletor going these days?
I mean, it's a slow, bumpy road since lockdown. Let's just put it that way. But we're fortunate that we have played 3 shows since, and we were able to write and record and produce this EP. But, we're all just taking our own steps in life, and I think... things are getting cooler. Definitely.
So I do want to give everybody a little bit of a rundown because I know this is your all's first time on the show. You all started in around 1998 is what I'm seeing here on the Metal Archives, which I like to consult a lot. I know there is some discrepancies on that page because, everybody's human, I guess. But it shows here you all had some demos, all and EPs and splits all the way up into the first full length, which is in 2008. And then it looks like from there you've got 2008, 2010, 2012, 14, where you've released all full length albums.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so
very busy through those early 2010s.
Definitely. So give everybody a rundown, like a little brief history lesson of Skeletor here.
So in 1998, basically, it's not like we actually formed the band. It was me and my best friend, Max. We had the idea of having a metal band, and that we started writing lyrics that would eventually become songs. And in 1999 is when we started having band practice. And in the year 2000, already having the name Skeletor is when we started playing shows. So all those EPs and demos from the early years are all San Diego based when we were a San Diego band. That's when we were, more Slayer focused and starting to implement the ideas of the Man-O-War, the true metal, slowly. And then when we got to Seattle in 2006, we were fully dedicated to that like true metal principle. And then in 2009, that's when we get Rob, our newest guitarist, and we've been solid since. And Rob, you could tell the rest.
Yeah, for real. I joined in at about end of summer in 2009, and we were kind of knee deep in finishing up writing Death to All Nations that we released in 2010. And, the guys had a pretty solid idea of what sort of sound they were going for, this sort of like traditional heavy metal mixed with true metal, dipping in the power metal a little bit. And then, we pushed out that full length in 2010, and then Jason had this concept album that he wanted to do based around Michael Moorcock's Elric character, and he brought in all these ideas, song ideas, lyric ideas, sort of structural ideas that we kind of put together for the Aegis of Power album in 2012. And that album was, I think Death Nations did really well for us, but Aegis of Power kind of, I feel like, solidified the band pretty firmly in the direction we were going. After that, had a little bit of a lineup change up with the bass player position, and Raw Davis, who we were talking about before we started the pod here, Mark. Mm-hmm. He rejoined the band, and he was one of the earlier members from San Diego. He moved up to Seattle. He joined up with the band in around, I think it was like 2013, early 2014 for the King of Fear album, which we released in 2014. And then we had a little bit of a churn between 2014 and 2019 in the bass player position. We kind of rotated through some members until we found the right person that would work for the position. Darren Wall, he played bass on the 2019 release Cyber Metal, which is, Jason maybe will be able to better articulate what the goal was, but I think what was the term that you always used that that album, the goal of it was?
The idea was that we were going to, quote unquote, sell out.
Okay.
We wanted it to be like our turbo. But yeah, we wanted our first like modernistic power metal album.
Okay.
In terms of especially in terms of production and like tone,
like Painkiller.
Yes, exactly. And we released that with at that around a little bit before that we had joined up with Gates of Hell Records, which is like kind of a sub label or a sister label of Cruz del Sur, and we released that record through them. And then that kind of right after that dropped, I think we were like, oh, we'll keep writing some new material, let's forge forward. And we hit early 2020, and we all know what kind of happened around that time.
Right.
And in Seattle, the lockdown restrictions were pretty strict, and the couple members of the band, I myself work in medical. The drummer Pat is a social worker. And we ended up kind of having to more or less be put on hold for the duration of 2020, and we switched to more or less a completely remote band.
Okay.
We had, go ahead.
It seems like a lot of people have done that actually, where they have taken and went from an actual band to just recording on like the Focusrite and recording albums that way and sending it to each other.
Yeah, we definitely jumped right into, we had one song that was kind of, I would say, about halfway completed, and, pandemic hits. We end up just more or less fully remote, sending ideas back and forth. We started messing around with jam software, where everyone could kind of get in on a sort of a Zoom call-ish type thing and jam remotely with varying levels of success. I think we tried out maybe like 4 or 5 different programs and never really found anything that would work reasonably for us. And
it was a lot of fun. Let's just put it that way.
It was definitely a lot of fun. We had one where there was no way to get a private room, so we were jamming remotely, and random fucking people would join in and start talking or playing other instruments. It was really weird, really strange. But after that sort of experiment more or less failed, we were exclusively just sending ideas back and forth.
It was like chat relay of music.
Yes. That's great.
What was that? Fernando or whatever, that one guy who joined in and was all talking to us from Europe or something one time. It was pretty ridiculous. But yeah, we through that whole process, we started piecing together these 4 songs that appear on this Blood Empire EP that we just released fully last week.
Right.
And that's what we released that as well through Gates of Hell Records. We're really pleased with how that turned out.
Definitely. So yeah, I do want to hit on that. You all just released Blood Empire back on last week on the 23rd, and you know, I love artwork first of all, just because you know it's one of those things where you know I love cruising through the record store and going through like the miscellaneous sections in the metal and like the alphabet, like the miscellaneous A's and you know whatever, and finding just something that I've never heard of based on just the image of the cover. And this is probably would probably be something I would pick up because it's got that Konami look to it, like you know, like Simon's Quest, Contra, you know, that whole old school NES look. And I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say, are they Klingons?
Yes.
I would say so because I see the batleth in there, and I'm just like, holy shit, what is this?
The whole idea behind Blood Empire, originally, me and my cousin Robbie, not Rob, we wanted to do like a epic trilogy based on the rise of the Klingon Empire, the rise of Kahless. And that was the initial idea for all this. We thought maybe we'd make a full album, have a trilogy at the end, or whatever, right? But then when you know lockdown happened and we're continuing these ideas, we're like, well, fuck it, let's just make an EP. We'll have the trilogy, the first 3 songs, and then my cousin wrote that song Blood Wine. And that'll be like the bonus track, the celebratory track, the drinking song, you know. But yeah, Star Trek is like deep in our hearts within all 5 members. You know, that's definitely one thing that we all have in common. Kind of raised us, you know, us all being products of the 80s, back when the next generation was new, and the next generation is what truly gave us the Klingon mythos. Because you know, if you watch the Star Trek from the 60s, the Klingons look like beatniks, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously they didn't have the budget for the makeup, prosthetic limbs, and all that kind of stuff that they had in the future shows. I read a book once that the costume designer from the 60s said, well, the cheapest thing possible was skin. So that's why all the women were so scantily clad.
Yeah, I could see them saying that with that deal.
Yeah. But so we went forward with that idea, and I designed the album cover concept. And I talked to my friend Max Nazarian, and he's done artwork for local bands over the years, and he's a big Star Trek fan. And I told him I want it to be the fight between Kahless and is it Molor or Morath? I forgot.
I believe it's Morath.
Morath. Molor is the tyrant. Okay, so Morath. So it's Kahless versus his brother fighting to the death. They're 12 days and 12 night battle on top of a volcano. I want it to look kind of like Star Wars Episode 3, Obi-Wan versus Anakin.
Definitely.
But I wanted it to be like silhouettes. So that's why they're all darkened, you know. And Max went with it, and he created this really cool scheme with like the moons in the background, and that you know, sharp, jagged cliff. And I saw it immediately from the framing. I was like, dude, we can make this look like Castlevania. Just put the gray framing on the sides, and put the Skeletor logo above. I didn't have the idea of having that like Castlevania placard behind that. That was the graphic artist who did the layout. And it just works perfectly.
Oh, it absolutely does.
And it's obviously distinguishable because you're pointing it out. Everyone on YouTube's pointing it out, and it's an eye grabber. And I think that's perfect.
Well, and like you said, being products of the 80s, absolutely. I mean, our age group, because I'm right there with you, that like we're gonna notice this and be like, holy shit, what is that? It's like it's like a beckon to the past, which is super cool. Which, continuing on the artwork thing here, you all have had some pretty awesome artwork for all of your full length albums. Give Me Metal or Give Me Death. That straight up looks like it. Honestly, it reminds me of kind of like Hello by Guar.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the idea behind it does. So that's always awesome. And then, the man makes the appearance on the second album.
On the second album?
On Death All Nations, Skeletor.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one, is it Sean McGrath? Is that who it was, Jason?
Sean McGrath from Ghoul.
Yeah, he did the art for Death All Nations with Skeletor more or less looming over the world and tearing it to pieces, more or less.
Absolutely, and it's such a great rendition too. I love the way he looks on there. He, the old Filmation, while he does look cool in certain scenes, like if he looked like that, they probably wouldn't be able to air the show.
No, not at all.
Because he just looks vile as shit. And then Cyber Metal. Cyber Metal's album art, I actually really, really enjoy. Because to me, it has this Mobius feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
The artist Mobius, if you've ever seen anything he's done, it's very line articulate. There's so much line detail in the stuff that he does. So hell yeah.
Yeah, that album cover is very complicated. I think I went through 5 different artists to finally find someone, and the final dude I found was the store clerk at the liquor store by my house.
Wow.
Yeah. But I had people just dropping the ball left and right. And finally I was just complaining to this dude because he told me about his artwork. So we understood each other as artists to a degree. And he's like, well, I mean, what's your concept? And I told him, it's this cyber samurai fighting a horde of dudes. And he went with it like hardcore. He made it look like the Doom album, or not Doom album cover, but the Doom like box cover from the PC game,
Oh yeah.
It's him fighting a horde of not zombies, but demons in a hellscape, and he made it like that. Like every single monster is a different, like completely different species and like formation, and it's just totally crazy.
And even just where the cyber samurai is standing like on the rubble and everything, and all that's all in like colors and grays and stuff like that, but everything in the background that is kind of just like that red haze, that orangish red haze is awesome. And honestly, what it's almost as if it's like a cell animation out of Heavy Metal magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome as shit because I've always loved that book. I'm still one of probably the only of 12 people that probably still subscribe to it because it's still being produced. And
wow, physically?
Yes, physically.
Wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Oh yeah, I think there's so much stuff with it it's not going away anytime soon.
Right. No, that magazine is speaks volumes. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So obviously Blood Empire just came out last week. I mean, is it too early to start looking to see what's coming out next?
I mean, we're obviously going to try to make a full length next year, but we don't have an idea of a concept yet. Like we all have our singular like song ideas that are been forming in our heads over the last couple of years, but there's no solid construct of anything.
Okay.
Like with cyber metal, we knew what we wanted to do for years. It just took us a long time to get the right bassist in line. Blood Empire, like at least we knew that we wanted to make that trilogy or whatever. But with this one, it's like we're kind of starting from the ground up.
Definitely. Now, on anything previous, I mean, like with the splits, the EPs, anything like that. Now, those are all new songs to themselves. They're not put on any previous albums or any upcoming albums, correct?
I mean, the only thing that, I mean, there's the first album, as you said, which I was like, wait, what's the first album? I can't remember anymore, because a lot of people think that Death 12 Nations is the first album.
What it shows on the Metal Archives is Give Me Metal or Give Me Death.
Yes, and that is a re-recording of the Give Me Metal or Give Me Death from 2003.
Okay.
So there's nothing upcoming that would be a re-recording unless we re-record like a classic track. Like we've been talking about re-recording the song You Traveled Many Miles for a heavy metal show, because we'd kind of like to show off what the latest iteration of Skeletor interprets that song as nowadays.
Absolutely.
Because it's a classic track. I mean, people want it to be played live all the time, and even though it's like pretty underground song, it just rings true with people. And we'd like to, record it with better production, more proficient players, and have that snappy feel that we have nowadays instead of the wonky demo EP versions that people have heard in the past.
Absolutely. No, I can totally get behind that. That's, I've always thought like once a song was like already done and put out, like it was done to me. And only here recently have I, been asked by people for my own project, where it's like, hey man, I really wish y'all, this is the best lineup you've ever had. I really wish y'all would record, this again. And it's like, that's been such a foreign concept to me for all of my life, that it's like, now it's like, I'm really starting to think about doing something like that. I know, like, take like Kiss, for example. Anytime they release a greatest hits, it's all re-recordings. It's never the song that came from the album.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I could totally see doing that, I guess, but I'm still on the fence about it personally.
Especially too, you run into some situations where bands have done that to kind of disastrous ends.
Like Kings of Metal 2014 or whatever the fuck that was. God damn it.
Yeah,
very much disastrous ends, because I've also bringing up the Kiss thing is every time they've re-recorded a greatest hits album, it's progressively slower. And it's progressively a lower key, because as we get older, our voice still changes and everything. Paul Stanley can't hit the high notes anymore. So,
I think the best re-recording of all time is Judas Priest, Unleashed in the East.
Oh yes,
because yes, it's not a true live album, but the thing about it is that they had changed labels, and they weren't going to make any money off those songs from the first two albums. So they thought, okay, well, we're about to kick out this drummer. Let's just record him live, and it's just going to be a best of all those two albums, and then songs from Stained Class and Hellbent for Leather. And it's the best fake live album ever.
Well,
it's the best way to listen to those songs, because as great as Sad Wings of Destiny is, the production's terrible.
Right. And actually, I recently got a copy of that, a new remastered copy here that came out within the last couple of years. And it actually is serviceable now. And like the original, no, definitely not. But this was actually really good. But I like what you said there about, Unleashed in the East. And I don't know, have you read the autobiography Confess by Rob Halford?
No, and I have a copy in my bookshelf, and I really need to read it. I think
because he actually talks about that album and how it was actually,
Right.
and where you say it's a fake live album, it's interesting because it's really only fake on the vocal end.
Right.
Because he tells about how he was roached out on his voice when they were on tour. He came back and sang to the tape.
Got it.
And it was like crazy, like one take. And like the whole time. It's like, holy shit, dude. Like, I couldn't imagine like doing something like that.
I mean, I've heard bootlegs from back then and he was incredible, but like I'm sure he could do that in one take in the studio, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, me personally, I probably couldn't, but but he's incredible.
Right.
He, being 72, he's incredible now.
It's certainly amazing that he's been going for so damn long, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Like remarkable, even like considering, we have the the Motley Crue debacles going on. You got the Bon Jovi debacles going on that we see all the live clips on YouTube, and it's just like disastrous quality, and he's still putting it out. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. The Motley Crue thing to me is weird because like I've heard that those are tracks, because even in 2008 he was that bad. Vince was, and
right.
So, and apparently now he's even worse. But like, it's like I don't know if I would want that as a track, honestly.
I mean, you watch him at the US Festival in '83, and he sounds like shit. So like,
true.
Sorry, Vince Neil. Hats off to you.
Right.
Vince Neil does not care about us.
No. But you know what? I would gladly drink a beer with the guy. Let's just put it that way.
I was just gonna say, and nor should we care about Vincent. No. No, but it's interesting though, because like it's almost the Two-Face mentality with Vince Neil. It's like, do you die a hero or do you live long enough to see yourself become the villain? And obviously he's the villain.
Hey, I heard we're going to go on tour with Motley Crue next year, so
can we cut that out?
No, we're going to go on tour with Methods of Mayhem instead.
Oh God. Gosh. I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh. They played at like Ozfest in '99.
Oof.
Yeah, they were. Methods was on tour on Ozfest that year, and I remember being like, "What the fuck?"
Was that Tommy Lee's band when he was still with like Pam?
Yeah, that was his rap band.
That was Tommy's rap band. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like what?
Their hit was that "Get Naked" song that had like Fred Durst on it, and God, he was like Little Kim or something like that.
Oh my gosh. Lil Kim. Lil. No, there's no T's in there, sir.
My bad.
So I'm not informed back then, because I refused to watch MTV after '97. I was just like, I'm done. I'm completely done with all this shit. Because Reload just came out and Puff Daddy was the biggest thing in the world. And I was like, fuck the radio, fuck MTV. I'm just going to stick to the CDs I have and move forward.
Which is about the same time I did too. I remember watching the VMAs in '96, and like Kiss was supposed to be on there, and they were doing. It was the first reunion show. Like reunion with the makeup, and it was right before Psycho Circus came out.
It's a Psycho Circus.
Exactly, and they still play that live. They still play that song live. They played it in Louisville this past weekend at Louder Than Life, and I was like, "What the fuck? They played Psycho Circus?" Because I don't think they played it when I saw them back in 2019. But it's like, yeah, I mean. No, I can't deal with that album.
This total interjection. We have this friend named Terry. He did a karaoke version of "Walk" by Pantera, but in the Paul Stanley voice.
Oh my God!
I'm talking to you.
Me. Yes. Walk.
You know, and the funny thing about that is like Paul is so fucking over the top. You know, when he's just like talking to the crowd, and it's like, it's really bad. Like, have you seen any of like the Kissology stuff? Like where they've got like it's like the live shows from like the 70s all the way until like the Revenge album and shit like that.
No, I just know on Kiss Alive he's like, I hear you guys like tequila.
one of my favorite Pauls, he's like, it was on Unplugged. He goes, this song was on, I think it was on Dynasty. Maybe it was on this. I don't know. I'm so bad with the albums. It's like, how the fuck do you not know what album you wrote a song for? You know, it's like, shit, dude, come on, man. It's like, you got to be it's like, do you just not care?
Yeah.
You've seen or if you've listened to those compilations, like live banter compilations on YouTube of Paul, have you?
No, I have not, but
they are absolutely choice. It's really funny.
Tell me something, Detroit. I've got something to say. Where he's doing that shit, and he's like,
"Oh yeah,
dude." Like, there's a video from like, it's either Hot in the Shade or Revenge. So it's like right around that that time period, like early 90s, where he just sits there and he goes, and he, you know, on a boom stand, he doesn't loosen it up. He just yanks the fucking stand around. Right? You know, so it's completely tearing up like the rubber grommets that keep it in place. And as he's sitting there singing a song, it just falls down. And he tries to put it back up, and it falls right fucking back down again. And he just points at it, and just like somebody comes out and replaces it. It's like, what? It's like, stands are like $30 a piece. Obviously, you don't give a fuck because no, that's fucking nothing money.
Mm-mm. Especially for Kiss.
Right, especially for Kiss. So I'm going to go ahead and break into some general profile questions about you guys as people, because that's what we do here. You know, we like to split things up and see where you guys stand on certain things. Now, I pull these randomly out of a deck of cards, and this deck is actually getting pretty thin, so pretty soon we're going to have some repeat questions, but these have not been asked to any other guest yet.
Word.
Cool.
When you're feeling sick, what makes you feel better?
Saxon.
Nice.
Saxon. You know, I'm going to just be honest, hanging out with my dogs.
Oh.
My actual dogs. Not my dogs, but my pets.
What up, dog?
But in reality, an awesome soup like pho or pozole.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I could definitely get behind the pho because that nice clears out the sinuses.
Oh, for real, yeah. That feels, when you're really sick, just a big old hot bowl of pho is definitely.
You know, that's
lots of jalapenos.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You know, that's really when I like onion soup a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
Is like when I'm not feeling good, because it does the same thing. You know, it's just like, it just like clears out the sinuses.
Yep.
Hell yeah, man.
How about you? Soup as well?
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, having the soup really helps. You know, the care package thing always feels good. When somebody brings you, it's like, oh, hey, I hear you're not feeling good. Here's some Mucinex and, you know, some stuff. And it's like, oh, thank you guys, you know. That's really cool for people.
Hell yeah.
So, I guess, the camaraderie, I guess, that, you know, people actually care when you're sick.
Yeah. Thanks, Auntie.
Yeah, exactly, right. What antiquated invention do you still use?
Bench.
A wallet?
Maybe a chain wallet for you, Jason?
Yeah, I got my chain wallet.
Right.
I've had a chain wallet for over 25 years.
Definitely. Before they were cool.
Yeah, and it's the same chain. So
antiquated invention. Damn.
it's not a fax machine, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. No. Fuck
I
fax
honestly, you know what? I think I can answer this for anybody who listens to this show. Is a record player.
Yeah.
Dude, I have one, and I haven't spun a record in a very, I would say I haven't spun a record in about 5 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
I have 400 or 500 records.
Well, it's a time thing.
Yeah.
I mean, when you listen to an album like on vinyl, you know, it's a time commitment because you're not listening to an album to skip fucking tracks.
Nope.
You're in for the haul. You're listening.
Yeah, you're going through a journey there.
Yeah,
you know,
you're listening to at least 5 songs, at least a complete side.
So what happened to me though is that I moved into a place where the floorboards would creak and make the record skip. And I was with my friend Gethsemane, and we were listening to a brand new copy of Brave New World that he just bought at the time. And we were like, all right, here we go, Brave New World. And my sister's boyfriend was just putzing around and just made the record skip all the time. And that's a full 70-minute album. And we're just like, dude, I think after one side, we're like, we're done. We're just going to go to Spotify. And we haven't spun a record since. And it's tragic, you know. It's like we were there for the commitment. We were going to spin records for the 5 years that we lived in that house, but we didn't. We're just like, fuck this, you know.
Definitely. Yeah, I can see that. I've got that where my record player is too. So I'm like easing past it just because it aggravates the fuck out of me when it skips.
Oh yeah. It kills the mood, and you're fucking up your needle and the record itself. So
Oh yeah. For sure. Who would you want to have a private jam session with?
Private jam sesh. Rob, you go. You're an instrumentalist.
You know, I would definitely probably say private jam session. If we were writing tracks, like writing songs, I would really love to just be in the room with the guys from Slough-Fig, from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And just hash out some excellent metal, some tons of melody, harmonies, very melodic, heavy metal, classic heavy metal sound. That would be a lot of fun. And knowing Mike, we've been lucky enough to play with him a number of times, and are familiar with the guys, and I think it would be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
I think I would want to just play Strange Kind of Woman with Richie Blackmore, so I can do that. Ooh, 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 ooh.
And then him throw something at you too, because you.
Oh
he's
yeah.
angry at you.
He can throw a pitcher of water at me. I don't care.
That's great.
What's next?
What is one boundary you put up in your life to keep people out?
I don't let people sit next to me on the bus. I sit in the aisle and I put my bag next to me on my left.
Okay.
Damn, Jason. Damn.
But I also have resting bitch face, so no one wants to fuck with me. So it's pretty hard.
Well, the bus thing I can get, because let's face it, people are fucking weird in general, and you could be the only person on the bus, the only person on the fucking bus, and the motherfucker that gets on next will sit right next to you.
Oh, I've had so many old dudes sit right next to me. I'm just like, why? This entire trolley is empty, but okay. But I'm the dick who's going to get up and move away. So,
right.
Boundary we put up to keep. What was the question one more time? Boundary we put up to keep people out. Is that what it was? I'll freely. Jason can attest to this. I'm a pretty private person. I don't share a lot, I guess would probably be it. It's not intentional, but I'm sure maybe subconsciously I'm doing it to protect myself.
Here's a funny story that pertains to both myself and Rob. We were at a festival in Germany, and there was this guy who kept looking for me and my cousin Robbie. And my
Gotta
drummer
tell him the name, though.
Well, I'm getting there.
Oh,
But my drummer would keep coming up to me and be like, Jason, this guy's looking for you. He really wants to get a picture of you and your cousin and Robbie with him. I'm like, well, where the fuck is he? You know, this is a big ass festival. He's like, he's waiting for you in the stairwell. I'm like, okay, cool. I go down the stairwell, and then some dude comes up and is like, hey, Jason, my name's Alex, blah, 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 blah. And I had a great time talking to this dude. Whatever. Then our drummer, Patrick is his name, he comes up to me. He's like, dude, you didn't talk to the guy. I'm like, I talked to the guy. He was in the stairwell. He's like, no, you must have talked to someone else. I'm like, well, fuck, you know? So finally, way later in the festival, I think Attacker just finished playing, which was incredible, obviously. Finally, I meet this guy. I think his name's Daniel, but whatever. Patrick had advised me, hey, it's weird though, because when he talks to you, he has like a hot breath, and he like talks to your neck. Because, you know, at a show or a festival, people talk to each other's ears. Like, hey, man, this solo's great, you know, but you're like yelling into each other, right?
Right.
But he would do this even between bands. And so he's talking to me, and he's talking into my neck, and he has this hot breath. And it's like sticky and musky, and like you kind of feel violated by this presence, you know? And then my cousin Robbie finally shows up. He gets his picture. He talks to Robbie as well in the same forum. All of a sudden, Rob shows up. And I always have my hair in a ponytail. And Robbie's hair wasn't very long back then. But so, like, it didn't, like, cover his neck. But Rob always has his hair down, even in front. And so this dude, we ended up calling him Neck Licker. He's trying to talk to Rob, but Rob has his defense up, even without trying. And he can't. I look at him; he just like can't get in.
He keeps coming in, but like the hair's there, and he's like, "Oh, I can't figure it out." Like he couldn't figure out how to like get up close enough. And Daniel, or whatever the hell your name is, I'm sorry if you're listening to this, but you do it, dude.
Oh
you
my
do
gosh.
What's funny, I met the guy years later at another festival in Germany, and I was like expecting the neck licker move, and it never happened. I was like, oh shit, he grew up.
Wow, that's insane.
Might have been alcohol fueled, you know. So
could be,
might have been,
could be,
anything
or
happens in
somebody might
Germany.
have said something to him.
Yeah,
Just going out on a limb there.
maybe he got called out on a podcast, you know.
Maybe. So I have one more question, but before we get into that today, all links will be listed below, so please give a like, share, and a follow. Go out to Bandcamp, buy merch, do whatever you can to support these guys because it kicks fucking ass. Do you guys have any shout-outs you want to give today?
Shout out to Enrico from Gates of Hell Records for putting this together for us for the EP. We greatly appreciate his help and support. He's an amazing dude. He runs Gates of Hell and also Cruz del Sur, and he puts out a ton of amazing music through his labels.
Definitely.
and shout outs to our friends in Slough-Feg. Rock and roll, motherfuckers.
Slough-Feg and, you know, other local folks, the folks in Solicitor.
Solicitor, yeah. Amy, rock and roll.
Gatekeeper, our friends from the north.
Jeff Black,
yep. And then all of our other bandmates, Robbie, Pat, and Leona. We miss you.
Definitely. Hell yeah!
We're gonna see that. We're gonna see them on Wednesday for practice. But, you know, if they listen to this long, we miss you.
Definitely,
we miss you.
you guys are like right in the new epicenter, I think. Seattle, Portland, like that whole like scene through there, and a little bit up into like Vancouver and shit too. You guys have some amazing fucking bands out there. It must be in the water.
Maybe I know that Jason and I have talked a couple of times. It was funny, in 2010, 2011, 2012, through 2015, it was like the only bands that we could play with were like doom bands or like death metal bands and stuff like that. But then just like gradually everything has shifted. And there's just a lot more like traditional heavy metal bands, speed metal bands, power metal bands. It's crazy. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with death metal and doom. But it's just crazy how, time has changed and, folks are picking up the mantle, so.
Oh, definitely. All of a sudden, you've got Solicitor, you've got Silver Talon, Unto Others, fucking Time Rift, Spell, so many, Soulgrinder, so many fucking awesome fucking bands that are just coming out from up there, and it's like, holy shit, it's like, what is going on? It's almost like Pittsburgh. Which is wild as shit too, because Pittsburgh has a really big, new wave of traditional heavy metal scene there as well. Like so many awesome fucking bands coming out of there too. So I just dig it. It's totally rad. Like I said, must be something in the fucking water or something.
Yeah, maybe.
So
all that gloominess for like 6 months out of the year, we got nothing better to do.
Right. Anybody who says that phrase on here has to say it like Dave. Got nothing better to do. No,
Can you put a price on gloominess?
Right.
Can you put a price on pizza?
Oh, geez. So, guys, thank you so much. Final question of the day is, when you wake up in the morning, what is your number one priority?
Get that money. Get that money.
I was gonna say get some tasty breakfast. I'm pretty hungry when I first wake up. So
hell yeah,
I'm going making some oatmeal for myself ASAP.
I'm not hungry when I wake up. I think it's all the beer I drank, but I don't know. I don't even like my days off. I'd rather be at work. It's weird.
I kind of get that too, because for me, it's like if I'm off work, I really like, if I don't get up and do something by like 8 o'clock on my day off, 8 a.m., I feel like I've wasted the fucking day. And it's like, well, fuck, I might as well have been working. And
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally get behind that shit.
I work so that I can do things like tour and stuff. So like, if on my days off, I'd rather be playing a show or, something that's fun musically.
Definitely.
And because on my days off, I just sit down and watch fucking YouTube all day, and it's like, well, that's stupid. But
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
That shit's definitely a time suck, like having like a TikTok page. It you end up sitting there, if you don't constantly make videos for it, and that's a 1 to 3 minute deal. You're constantly watching videos, which is a 1 to 3 minute deal. And at some rate, you've either spent 5 to 15 minutes in one sitting just in 5 videos. And so, yeah, that shit really adds up. And, watching an 11-minute YouTube video and you watch 4 of them, you've killed 3/4 of an hour. It's like, holy shit, man. It's like, yeah, too much.
My biggest gripe nowadays is all those YouTube videos. There's too many damn ads. Like every 5 minutes or every couple minutes, there's like an ad that takes up the whole video and plays for 30 seconds. Just
you don't have ad block?
No, I don't.
No, I'm not paying for the YouTube. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just I'm also because I work with computers all day long, so I'm usually if I'm doing anything, it's on my phone. But yeah, so
word. I watch all my YouTube at home with ad block, so
I'm just not as cool as you are, I suppose.
I guess.
Awesome.
Mark, are you on TikTok? Do you making TikTok videos for the Metal Forge?
I have, but I did. I recently deactivated the account because of it being a time suck. And my boss kind of came up to me and was like, "Yeah, man, I noticed you're on your phone a lot." And it's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I should probably not fucking do that."
It's like, Mark, I need you to stop doing TikTok dances at work right now.
Oh, no, definitely no TikTok dances. There's definitely been some of the trend videos, but like no dancing or nothing like that. There is a Vince Neil reaction video on there.
Oh,
where
sounds like something I would be interested in.
What the fuck? You know, it's just,
I can't get into TikTok. Maybe hashtag boomer or whatever the fuck, but not into that. Just not into it.
Not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it.
Read my lips.
Not gonna do it. No.
George Bush.
That's great. And for the 20-year-olds that listen to the show, I'm not sorry that you don't get it, that you don't get the reference. Jason,
accomplished.
Exactly
yes.
Right. Jason, Rob, thank you so much for coming on the Metal Forge this week. This has been awesome. So, from the new EP, Blood Empire, what do you guys want to play out today?
The hit, Bloodwine.
All right. So, from
Bloodwine's the rocker.
Bloodwine's the rocker. That's easy to say fucking, fast or anything. From Skeletor, this is Bloodwine.
Armies will fall by the sword.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code MetalForge to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now. Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soulgrinder Zine, an independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now. Hey Metalheads, it's with great pleasure I get to tell you guys about a new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Ageless Art, New Albany. After 20 years of owning and operating Ageless Art in Clarksville, Indiana, Phil Garrett had a vision for a new type of tattoo studio. Something that is clean and modern, sleek, refined, inviting. And he's done just that with Ageless Art in New Albany. You can find it at 2736 Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, 47150. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays are 12 to 6. All sessions are appointment only, so give them a call and go get you some new ink. Or if it's your first time, go get your first one, baby. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code MetalForge10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com.
Hey guys, Wrestling Steve of the Wrestling Steve Show here. So if you're currently listening to the Metal Forge with Mark Jackson, then you understand that Mark Jackson has a pretty discerning taste when it comes to music as a whole. You'll also understand that he has a discerning taste for professional wrestling, just like me. My show is called the Wrestling Steve Show. I talk about modern and classic pro wrestling in a completely unbiased, unfiltered way. Be sure to check me out on all available podcasting platforms. That is the Wrestling Steve Show. And I am the host, Wrestling Steve. Just remember, like Confucius said, man who goes through turnstile in Thailand is going to Bangkok. Pro wrestling.
It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast. We're on season 2, so you have a whole season to get weird with Frank Green and Scott Clark. The best part is there's always laughter.
Oh, yeah, you can pull that out.
We have national touring comedians, NFL stars, rock stars, your local friends. It always gets weird. Weird answers.
Have y'all ever snorted coke off of a 78 Pinto? No? You ain't no man.
Weird questions.
Who had a bigger cocaine habit, Jock Sutherland or Kaywood Ledford?
Neither one, because they stopped beating their wives.
And weird we never even thought of.
Well, no, my friend is on acid, and I sent my friend to go find a payphone so that I can call and turn myself in for murdering this guy and ruin my life.
We love all types of people, but we don't love all people.
Weird. It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast, available everywhere. And thank you to Big X Sports Radio for being a proud sponsor of It's Gonna Get Weird. Frank Green, Scott Clark. Yeah.
Hey, thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of The Metal Forge. I want to take a minute to remind you guys about the Patreon page. Over on the Patreon page, we have the tiers set up to support the production of the show. We feature the Down and Dirty, which is just $1. There's nothing special for that one, it just sends me a thank you, because every dollar helps. Then there's the Double Down and Dirty. Much akin to the Down and Dirty tier, everything helps produce the show in the end. You make your presence known, and I appreciate that more than you realize. Thank you for being a dedicated friend and supporter to the Metal Forge. By selecting that tier, you will receive some cool Metal Forge stickers in your mailbox. Now, we're really going to start pounding the metal madness with the Apprentice Metalhead for just $5 a month. By becoming an Apprentice Metalhead, you'll be given early access to the shows, published 24 hours before everyone else gets it. You're also going to receive 3 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You're also going to receive a 10% discount on all Metal Forge merch, and you're going to receive a sweet Metal Forge patch for your battle jacket or backpack. And now, here is the big one. This is the Master Metalhead for just $10 a month. By becoming a Master Metalhead, you will receive a hand-numbered Metal Forge Master Metalhead membership card. You're going to be given early access to the shows as well, with 36 hours before everyone else. You're going to receive 5 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You'll be able to submit audio questions that I will use on the show of you asking questions to the upcoming guests. Remember, timing is everything, and you will need to keep up with the upcoming guest list on the website. You're also going to receive advanced knowledge of any new merch coming out and be given a 25% discount on all Metal Forge merch. And you're also going to get all of the other rewards from the other tiers. So visit patreon.com/Metal Forge Radio today and help support the Metal Forge. Rock on.